Hey traders, good morning. Uh, where is the? I think the sound's coming through. Should be, yeah. Hey traders, welcome back for another live streaming session. Where I'm just doing a preliminary technical analysis during the London trading session. But I mean, to be honest, quite a lot of these live streaming sessions are mainly for you guys if you wanted to have a bit of an interaction, ask me a couple of questions, especially within the prop trading space. Um, So to quickly go through it, at the moment I am not entering in any position that I deem to be worth it. I think, at the moment I'm just generally waiting for this to occur. So we should be looking for something such as this. Let me go and drop back out to the hourly. Um, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a pullback today. We're going to see a bit of a pullback into the downside, and so I'm generally looking for trades such as this that I've just put in there for a short-term short position. And the reason why is if we zoom out to the day or even the week, I'll drop to the day because it should be a little bit easier to see. We are trending quite aggressively into the upside, which is good. Absolutely. And what I'm a little afraid of here is that we can see that there's a little bit of liquidity resting at these lower levels at the moment. And so considering that the market has gone up and it's created this beautiful price action candle, we are beginning to move down toward these potential areas of liquidity. And this is where I'm then going to be looking for those long opportunities as we continue into the upside with the devaluation of the US dollar pushing up. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at the moment. Um, I mean, to be fair, I could possibly. I have a feeling it's certainly going to come down to here, to this level. Where's my pen tool? I certainly see that it's going to come down to this level. However, we could see a potential reaction back from this level before pushing a little bit lower. But overall, we're looking for those short-term shorting opportunities today on the majority of our major currency pairs. So I'll leave that there for now, but keep in mind this is probably going to be my first target of where I'm looking to take profit, and then this will be my second area just down here. Okay. But because I'm a supply and demand trader, and majority of the time I am usually trading on the higher time frame, so these trades can take a little bit of time to play out. So I completely understand if you don't have the patience for this. It's really cool because I do want to start doing a little bit more educational content around order flow, and I generally think order flow is a fantastic tool to look into on lower time frame trading. I think it's fantastic. It's a great way to look at potential reversals. It's a fantastic way to see where the momentum is going. So I will start bringing out a little bit more material around order flow for you guys. Right. Anyway, this is my play for the time being today. Again, I'm also a little bit afraid of this ascending wedge pattern that we can see occurring up here, right? So, fine, we've got 1 and 2 here, and I think we're just about to make the third one. So I think there's going to be a bit of like I said on the lower frames, a pullback before then pushing up again up to this area of unverified daily supply before we then see a change of character into the downside. Okay. So that's the play that I have at the moment on majority of my currency pairs. What is interesting is if we head over to the USD JPY, um, quite a like we saw that there was an intervention by the Bank of Japan. We saw that there was a big intervention by the Fed trying to revalue the Japanese yen, but we can quite clearly see it's failed. And we knew this was going to happen. And so for a lot of you guys last week that entered into those positions, who went long on those positions last week, well done. You capitalized off of it. I didn't enter into that position mainly because it was somewhat like gambling. It didn't play very nicely into my technical analysis, but we quite clearly knew that the Japanese yen is likely going to continue devaluing over the course of the next couple of months. even though they sold off quite a substantial amount of their bond positions within the US dollar, what they do with those reserves or what they made from that, um, I didn't see any indication that they were going to reinvest that economically, right? So of course it's just going to continue devaluing. I wouldn't be surprised if we retrace back up to the 164 mark. Absolutely not. Very similar to what happened over here, right? We had these two interventions and then we just drifted back up into the upside, devaluing of the USD JPY. So I'm not touching this pair at all for just the time being, mainly because it is just incredibly uncertain and incredibly prone to manipulation. Okay, so if you guys do want to take a gamble, then sure, go ahead. But I personally would not take any positions based off of that, based off of my technical analysis, based off of technical analysis alone, because it's not following the right rules that we employ within our trading. Heading over to the DXY. So I haven't actually analyzed the DXY much today, but we can just do a quick preliminary analysis right now. What we can see is that liquidity has been taken from here. We can see that beautiful reversal. So breaker structure into the upside. What I think is going to happen is that we might come up to about this level, where it would likely then take a little bit more liquidity. Like I said, we're looking for those long opportunities on our major currency pairs. And because we're looking for those longs, we're looking for shorts on the DXY. And because we're looking for those short positions, I'm assuming this will be roughly around the area that we could start looking for or to enter the market into a short position. Okay, this is on the 4-hour frame. And we can quite clearly see, yep, liquidity was grabbed below here. What I would be afraid of is I would consider this my hard resistance. This is my hard resistance. And so if we see price retracing and breaking that structure, then we have a change of character. Then we're likely going to start looking for long positions, okay? But I don't see that being broken. So I'll generally be looking to do something such as this. Let me just zoom out to the daily because we want to enter into a pretty big swing trade here. I think there is a substantial amount of liquidity resting below this level. And so if I were to look into this position, I'll be doing something such as this, which is about 1 to 1.5, 1.6 risk to reward ratio on the DXY. And I'll keep that there just for the time being. As I say, guys, because I mean, it's more like swing trading really. And so because of swing trading, it's a very slow process. I would love to do minute by minute trading and just trading off of the candlesticks, but I personally I've not been training myself to do that quite recently. So I can only give you my general overview and analysis of how we would play the swing trades. Because we're looking for those shorting opportunities, that means we should be looking for long opportunities on XAUUSDT. And this is pretty, USD, I don't know why I say USDT. And this is looking really good. So we're actually seeing a really beautiful break structure. Let me drop down into the 4-hour frames. So yeah, based on the previous daily market breakdowns, I was expecting the price to come down just a little bit more. And then this, we have just opened up a little bit of untapped liquidity resting below this level here. We have just now broken that market structure and grabbed whatever liquidity was resting above these highs. What we are also seeing is, yeah, this was the change of character mark, breaker structure, and we've just had a very nice breaker structure here on XAU. So because of this, we are now looking for those long opportunities. Okay, so when looking for those long, we want to enter into longs. Let me just remove all of this. And what we can see here is that price came down, it pushed itself back up, and then broke market structure, leaving potential liquidity on the table here. So if I want to enter into a position now, I would be expecting price to come down to this level, or this level. Hold on. I'm expecting price to come down to this level or this level. And if we see price come down to this level, I will start to look at how I would want to enter into the market, into a long position and targeting the next high. So I'll be doing something such as this. I'll probably put it down to this change of character low here and target a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. This is how I would swing trade. This is how I would trade XAUUSD. Okay. So that is the position that I'll be looking for, and hopefully the price will come down, tap us in, and then I can enter into that position. But we are looking for those long opportunities on XAUUSD and those shorting opportunities on the DXY. Heading over to BTC USDT, let me just remove this. Yeah, so I was expecting a potential pullback, and we are seeing that pullback happening at the moment. This would have been a really beautiful place for that pullback, but unfortunately there wasn't a strong enough reaction. Price pushed up, came back down again, breaking market structure, and now we're seeing that this could be where the liquidity was taken. So what I would generally be doing now is looking for those long opportunities on BTC USDT. We have these changes of characters, fine. It's pushing on the 4-hour frame, pushing into the downside. But if we zoom out to the higher time frames, we are trading. Oh, let me drop out to the weekly. We are seeing a potential reversal occurring after the price entered into this potential weekly demand zone. So I am starting to consider areas of potential entries into the upside. And I keep on saying this, like in my overall general analysis, I keep on saying that I would not be surprised if we see BTC returning back toward the $80,000 mark sometime this year, right? Which is something such as this to occur. And I think this is then where we're going to see the next reversal point either dropping back down and, completely surpassing the $55,000 support level, or we'll see that continuation into the upside toward the $98,000, maybe even the $100,000 mark. Okay. So yeah, I'm generally waiting for that to enter into those long opportunities on BTC USDT. All right, let's head over to GBP USD. Yeah, so today I'm just waiting. I'm mostly waiting really on these major currency pairs just to see where, because I'll be wanting to see maybe this low get hit before continuing up. Like we need another sweep in liquidity in order for us to continue that next leg into the upside. Okay, so I'll be looking at these key levels or key areas where liquidity might be resting, which is likely going to be roughly around these lows, and they've been generally untapped for this at this point in time. Okay, so I would kind of want to see a retracement back down, especially on the London session, before I enter into a long opportunity on GBP USD. See how this trade is performing. Not as well as I hoped. Let me just lock this in here. Yeah, still generally waiting for price to drop one more time. Although this seems to be a very strong low. And could maybe even act as the bed for that long position. It's fine if we get stopped out. It happens all the time. It's part of that trading journey. Though I must say, coming up here and then that ascending pennant, I mean that's I think that's is that bullish or bearish? It's a bullish or bearish candlestick pattern. The pennant or the flag, I think. Yeah. Well, now it's a bit of an odd one. But yeah, we're just seeing these ascending lows and ascending highs, and we know that below ascending lows is liquidity. So Because of that, I would generally just be waiting mainly within these positions. I am expecting it to go down. It might push up a little bit higher, get rejected again before coming back down and grabbing whatever's resting below these lows before then entering into a position. But at the moment, I'm generally just waiting to see. I would have expected it to come back down though, admittedly. I would have expected it to push back down just a little bit more before it continues that leg into the upside. So as for Euro USD, GBP USD, we've gone through this already. Generally just waiting. I am expecting it to come back just a little bit before continuing its leg into the upside. So we are bullish on all of our major pairs. One I've not looked at for a while is AUD NZD. I have had quite a lot of fun trading this pair over the last couple of weeks. I haven't entered into any positions on this pair for quite some time. Ooh, I almost got stopped out there. But we are beginning to push up on this, so maybe this will be a TP. But yeah, I've not really played around. I've not done much of an analysis on AUD NZD for a little while. Let's zoom out. We can do a little bit of a preliminary analysis at the moment. Yeah, we should generally be looking for those shorting opportunities at the moment. So yeah, we're gonna see this climb back up a little bit. Let me just drop back out to the 4-hourly. Yeah, we're gonna likely see this climb back up more toward this previous high here, and then we might see that sharp reaction back into the downside. We could see the price potentially retracing back toward this strong high before it begins selling off as well. So those will be my two setups for the time being. Short-term long position on AUD NZD, but overall I'll be looking for those shorting opportunities as well. So just something to keep in mind there that the New Zealand dollar is devaluing against the Australian dollar, which is generally expected after all of these weeks of growth. There's just absolutely massive amount of extension and there's growth on the AUD on NZD. So now we're just seeing that beautiful change of character back into the downside. And I wouldn't be surprised if we fall all the way, eventually we fall all the way back down toward this potential weekly demand. Likely won't fall that much, but that would be my my estimate of where we might see price retracing back to sometime toward the end of this year. Okay. Yeah, so short-term long on AUD NZD, and but overall we're now looking for those shorting opportunities. All right. I'm looking at Nasdaq. I'm not gonna do any technical analysis on NDQ, but it's been a pretty wild ride, really. I mean, this is the 4-hourly frame, and it's just been incredibly choppy, pushing down and playing around with the 200 EMA. We have a very weak low here, meaning that it can be quite easily broken. I think if we're looking at stocks from a fundamental point of view, a substantial amount of the stocks that are propping up NDQ are future prices of stocks. That means that investors are pricing the stock price far beyond what it's worth today because they believe it's going to be worth that much in the future. And so when the bill, I guess, comes around in the future and a lot of these overvalued stocks can't pay that bill, we're going to see this absolutely fall like we've not seen before in several years. So I'll be generally kind of I'm a little bit cautious on NDQ, mainly because of this choppiness. It does seem like a lot of investors are in a very cautious part of the market's cycle, and you should be too, right? If you are long-term investors, but I'm not a financial analyst, at least I'm not a stock financial analyst. So these are just my general opinions. S&P is definitely doing pretty good, and the reason for that is because it's not weighed down by the SpaceX stocks. So this is pretty good. We're seeing a really nice bit of growth on SPX. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Yeah, we just saw a bit of a pullback earlier this year. Huge and dramatic push into the upside, and we're gonna likely see a bit of a continuation on the S&P 500, which is great. All right, let's head back to XAUUSD, taking a look at the gold. Yeah, I'll just generally be waiting. Look, we've taken a little bit of liquidity here. We're certainly going to have a bit of a pullback. Whether or not it falls back down to here and continues upward, or we see a nice treacle, another little bit of a continuation down to here before it continues up. Okay, so those are the two areas I'll be looking at, right? Let me just remove this. This is, yeah, XAUUSD. Yeah, coming up, and yeah, I mean, if I was going to be trading on the lower frames, I would have entered into a position and TP'd around here. That would be my first TP at this point. If we see a breaker structure, my next TP would be around here. And then I would start to look for long options. Okay. That is how I would be playing XAUUSD. Yeah, you're just seeing a bit of a struggle here, really. I mean, I wouldn't be so upset if I did something such as this. I often do not trade the 1 minute frame, just so you guys know. I'm just putting this down as an example. So I'm not actually entering into a position from here. Why is this not moving? Move this out. There we go. Although, like I said, I will try and refine my strategy so that we do trade on the minute frames, because I know a lot of you guys like to. I mean, it's a very scalping style, which I personally don't do. I do more swing trading, but I'll try and integrate a bit of scalping into my trading in the future, just so that during the live streaming sessions we can go through that together. But I'm by no means a professional scalper. Okay. I'm a lot better with liquidity and supply and demand trading than I am at scalping. But I am expecting gold to go down first before it continues into the upside, at least on the higher time frames. Yeah. Admittedly, quite fun watching the charts once in a while. You know, I was watching some other teams live streams on their trading, and it is a lot of fun to follow these guys when they're trading. It's great to just watch them on the charts. It's fantastic. Um, yeah, it could be a little bit concerning, but because these lows have been broken, changing character, yeah, it could actually climb just a little bit up before continuing its journey downward. But as I said, on the higher time frames, yeah, I'm looking for those shorting positions on XAU for the time being. I'm expecting a slight pullback on XAU before we enter into a long position back into the upside. Yeah, so GBP USD is playing very nicely into we're seeing that pullback at the moment. We are seeing a bit of that liquidity being taken. Let me just I need to jump out to the much higher time frames to see this. On the lower time frames, it's working out pretty nicely, but we're just seeing all of this. Look at this beautiful, beautiful ascending lows, and there's a lot of liquidity resting below these lows. None of them broke. Wow, look at that. That's good. So we're going to be expecting a nice break down and then a very aggressive move up. That is what what I'll be expecting. But I won't be taking any of those short trades on this. I'll be waiting for that to occur and then I'll enter into a long position. Remember, because on the higher time frames we are trending upward. We're in an uptrend, so we're moving upward. We'll be looking for those long opportunities once GBP USD does come back down, grab whatever liquidity is resting below these previous lows here or these ascending lows, and then we'll continue into the upside toward this very strong area of resistance. Okay, like I said, guys, we're trending up. You know, we changed character all the way back over here. You know, we're going long on our major currency pairs. Now we're just looking for potentially good entry points. Euro, I was expecting this to come down a little bit before entering into a trade. It does look like this one might be a stop out. Don't get stopped out. No. Yeah. But I was expecting a bit of a pullback, and I'm still expecting that pullback to occur. I want euro dollar to come down to roughly around here at least, and then see that move upward. Again, we're looking for long opportunities on euro dollar and all of our major currency pairs. Because if I drop back out to the 4-hour frame, we can quite clearly see we are moving upwards. We are moving up. Okay. Although what I do expect to see is that euro dollar will eventually, over the next couple of days, weeks, re-enter this unverified daily area of supply. And when it does, we're likely going to see a pretty strong reversal into the downside. Okay. Swing trading analysis, supply and demand technical analysis. It's a slow process for sure. USD not touching this whatsoever. Borderline gambling at this point in time. But we all knew that the Japanese yen was likely going to continue to devalue against the US dollar even after that intervention. Even after that intervention. Let's take a look at gold. Ah, what a shame. It is just moving up and up. No. I think the position that should have really been taken was around this area here. Yeah, that's where I went wrong. So maybe entering into that long from here, but honestly, on the higher frames, I'm seeing that it should have a bit of a pullback. Yeah, at least down to this low here. At least. Strange. But the markets are never, how to say, they're not equal. I mean, they're not perfect. Always going to be a bit choppy. Wow, three kings. Hit quite a bit of resistance here on the lower frames. Yeah, so if you guys want to share your trading strategies, you're more than welcome to. Happy to do an analysis or give a little advice based on the type of trading that you guys do. See if I can get my order flow up. Let's take a look. This is on 6E. Oh yeah, that's gonna push it down. 6E is what? So look at gold. Take a look here. That's a 30-minute frame. Drop over to the minute. Ah, yes. Seeing a lot of buying. Actually, not really a lot of buying on gold, just a little bit. But very easy to manipulate this at the moment. More buyers and sellers happening here. I think the sellers are going to potentially win this one. Buyers are pushing back in at the moment. Nothing compares. Oh, substantial buying pressure on gold. What happened? Oh, wow, massive buying pressure on gold. And now it's completely reversing. Wow, what happened there? It seems a bit of manipulation was occurring, I guess. CPI data. Oh, yeah. Today we have inflation data coming out from the US. Okay, so that could be something to keep an eye on at this point in time. But wow, gold just took a heavy hit. Look at that absolute rejection there from the sellers. I'm just looking over at order flow. So I'll try and put a little bit, a few more lessons together, and order flow is certainly one that I want to bring out to you guys in the future. I myself am slowly reading it and learning it, as I don't often look at order flow when in my trading. There's not really that many contracts being bought, though, that is driving gold's price. It's very little bits of volume that is driving the price. Looks like this might be a stop out. Again, that's perfectly fine, no problem. Gold is pushing up, then DXY is certainly on its way down. Let's head over back to GBP, USD. And let's just zoom back out to the hour. Gosh, look at that ascending high. My goodness. Dangerous. Yeah, we'll likely see a slight continuation on GBP USD before it comes back down. Like I said, I want to enter into a long position on GBP USD, and I just need to wait for this liquidity resting below these ascending lows to be taken before I can enter into a position there. Euro, I'm still just waiting for this to come back down. Once this comes back down, then we can enter into a position. This is just generally for reference that I do believe that we need a bit of more of a pullback before euro dollar continues into the upside. Oh, gold might stop me out. Oh, 0.84% increase today. My goodness. Oh, just before that low. That's when you would probably enter. Target up to you. Yeah. Yeah. This is why I don't really trade the lower frames. Although, my goodness, really, it's really struggling to break past this this high. Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay, we got a bit of a stop out here, which is, again, fine. Seems to be a substantial amount of buying pressure on XAU. I'll remove this for now. However, I'm still, if I wanted to enter into a long position, I would still be waiting for XAU to pull back slightly before entering into any of those positions. So I'd want it to come back down a little bit. I guess it would sweep whatever's below here, and then I would enter into that position from there. Yeah, it seems like there's quite a substantial amount of buying pressure on gold at the moment. And now it's beginning to push down a little bit, which is good. Drop that down to the 5-minute frame. Yeah, now we're beginning to see that push back down. All right, I'm just going to stay up on the 4-hour frames and keep on monitoring here. Gosh, beautiful ascending highs here. Grabbed whatever liquidity, pushed back up, came down, pushed back up. Now we're just in a bit of consolidation. I think it needs to come down a little bit before it continues that leg into the upside. BTC USDT, a little bit of selling pressure. However, we would be waiting for, or at least we've seen that liquidity get taken from here. So on the lower time frames, we could be looking for the long positions. And we've got a little bit more fundamental data coming out as well. GDP growth rate, what's that, 1.1%. So a lot of this data should, or at least GDP growth rate year over year, should prop the GBP up a little bit higher. Just looking at the order flow of XAUUSD. Let's drop that to. Guess what we want to do is potentially look at 6E1 and let me look at the 4-hour frame there. Does that match? Ah, it does, yes. Oh, a lot of selling pressure here. Just looking at the order flow. As I said, I want to try and bring out a little bit more educational content around order flow and how you can read it. I think it's very insightful, especially if you're looking for very strong areas of reversal. Order flow, I think, works very, very well. The only issue is with order flow is you need at least level 2 data and you have to pay for that data and information. So what we try and do is just rely solely on technical analysis and using price action, technical analysis indicators, as well as our own drawings on the charts to do a preliminary analysis for our trading. Take a look at the 10-year. Taking a look at the 10-year bond yields for the US. It just looks like it's falling. Just going a little bit lower and lower and lower. Again, putting pressure on the DXY. And that plays very nicely into our analysis, where we are expecting DXY to kind of pull back just a little bit more, maybe grab liquidity and then tap us into the market, and we can enter into that position. And that should play out over the next couple of days. Maybe sometime into next week, late next week, we should see a push back down into the downside on DXY. Let's see how's the euro dollar coming on. Yeah, it's slowly getting there. Yeah, we just want to see the euro dollar fall at least below this previous low here. And that should give us a good indication, a strong low. So it should give us a pretty nice indication of where the price is going to go once we fall back down to this level around here. Hopefully we'll continue into the upside and we can enter into a long position. XAUUSD, we just got stopped out, unfortunately, but as I said, I'm still waiting on it to come back just a little bit more before pushing up even more into the upside. So we are looking for long opportunities on XAU. What's also pretty nice is that XAU did come back down to that 0.5 fib retracement, and that, again, if any of you were waiting for that retracement and entered, well done. Fantastic work. Nice breaker structure here. Yeah, again, I would have expected the price to drop back down a little bit lower than how it did. I would have expected it to at least come down to maybe the 0.7 fib before it pushes up and breaks market structure into the upside. All right. Very nice movements on XAU. Any of you trading on the lower time frames, on the minute frames? Wow, fantastic stuff. Look at that. Now trading far above the value volume weighted average. Change your character, pushing back up. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah. Where's the VWAP on this? Oh, trading massively above the VWAP. Wow. Okay, crazy. Yeah, I'm just analyzing again the order flow from XAUUSD. Very nice breaker structure. Yeah, hopefully we'll see that retracement back down, and then we can enter into some long opportunities on gold XAU. Oh, quite a strong reaction here. Very strong reaction here. As I said, guys, in the future, I'll try and bring order flow, and we can do minute by minute trading rather than swing trading on the higher time frames, because of course it's a little bit more engaging if we look at the lower time frame trading rather than higher time frame trading. All I can do is higher time frame technical analysis and answer any of your questions on the live streams. Wow, quite a substantial amount of push into the upside on gold XAU. Yeah, can't really see any potential entry points here on the lower frames. But I mean, just beautiful ascension. Amazing upward trajectory on the lower time frames. I think the price does want to eventually come back down. And whatever's resting below these lows here, probably want to take it. We can take a look and kind of identify potential areas on the slightly higher time frame. Yeah, so we are clearly in a pretty precarious part all the time. So I think if we're looking for a potential short from this area, this is likely where the price is going to end up eventually. Maybe we can see that on, yeah, order flow on the 5-minute charts. A lot of buying pressure here. Anyway, guys, that's bringing me closer to the end of the hour for live streaming. Of course, it would be a lot of fun to trade with you guys for a little bit longer. Yeah, we're starting to see that reaction occurring now. Even on the order flow, we're seeing quite a substantial amount of selling pressure. I don't know if the buyers want to step in. Nope. Gonna continue pushing down. Oh, sellers are winning this. Yeah, there's a lot more sell going on than buying pressure. Yeah, we might see that continuation back down. Hmm. I could just stare at order flow all day, really. Yeah, I will share a little bit more about order flow into the future, guys, and we'll start to bring that into our trading so that we can analyze the markets a little bit more accurately. Yeah, it's just pushing down so aggressively now. Um, as I said, this would likely be roughly around the target area. We'll probably just see like a bit of a treacle and then coming back down, hopefully back to this region here. But oh, yeah, there's substantially more sellers than there are buyers when we take a look at market orders. I think the buyers are trying to step back in and push the price back up here. Oh no. Yeah, I think the sellers are going to push this price down even more. Although, wow, buyers are putting in a lot of pressure here. A lot of pressure coming in from the buyers. This could be where a lot of the market orders are being absorbed, and we could see that price pushing up again once more on XAU. No. Yeah, the sellers won. It's gonna likely push down quite aggressively with this last 5 minute candle. Yeah, substantial amount of sell orders coming in on XAU at the point in time. Well, anyway, guys, yeah, I would love to stay on for even longer and do more trading with you guys, but unfortunately, I have to. I'm only doing the hour of the London session, doing the technical analysis. But it's always fun to kind of go through my strategy. I think we've gone through quite a lot of the currency pairs and the and gold, and you've seen what I'm looking at the moment. I am looking for those long opportunities on our major pairs, and I am looking for those shorting opportunities on the DXY specifically. So we are nicely seeing that come back up. Let me just drop back out to the higher frames here. Yeah, so we're certainly seeing that. I'm hoping it pushes up just a little bit more before we see that drop, and this should then also be reflected in our other major currency pairs where the price like GBP USD will come down, grab whatever's resting below these lows, or at least down to this level here. I'll put in an alert for there. So once the price does come to this level, it should alert me, and this is when I'm going to start looking for those longs. Similarly, nothing seems to have occurred that much on the euro dollar. As I said, we are expecting it to come down just a little bit more again before entering into a long position. USD and JPY, we just want to stay away from at this point in time, just generally because of the interventions that are happening from the central banks on this currency pair. And so entering into a position may seem a little bit like gambling rather than following actual technical analysis. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, really appreciate you joining me on this live stream. Hopefully, I will see you guys again next week for another live streaming session. And of course, you can come and ask any questions, especially about AIFO or your own trading. And I'm happy to take a look at it for you guys. So thank you very much for joining me today on today's live streaming session. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully next week, Wednesday.